Welcome back, everybody. Going live on the website today, we got some new property up in Fremont County, Colorado that I think you guys are really going to like. It's a forested lot located in a developed mountain community in Cotopaxi, just southwest of Canyon City and the famous Royal Gorge Park. In addition, guys, this one also sits in very close proximity to the quaint rural community of Westcliff and the neighboring Lake Deweese State Park and Wildlife Area. All of that, however, pales in comparison once you see the picturesque mountain community in which this property is located. This one's a 2.6-acre, partially fenced corner lot with underground utilities priced at $20,000. Learn all about it and more after the intro. So just to start off, guys, I want to show you Fremont County here on the map. Now, this is a pretty considerable landmass in the central portion of the state, comprised of a lot of mountainous forested area with US Route 50 cutting through the region from east to west. The subdivision this property is located in, and really the word subdivision is a term I'm using loosely, is called the Florida, Colorado Acres. Now, this is another one of these regions that was subdivided from a much larger chunk of land consisting of tens of thousands of acres. So the exact breadth and depth of this region currently eludes me. That said, the area circled here on the map is, give or take, roughly the space that this subdivision takes up. And if we zoom in here on the map, you're going to see a lot of developed parcels with what look to be some pretty nice homes on them, kind of concentrated within this region. It should be noted that this is an area where a lot of the aforementioned subdividing took the form of 5 and 10 and 40-acre lots. So there's a lot of people out here with some good chunks of land and all the sort of space and privacy that goes with that. Now, I'll direct your attention away from this for just a minute because I want to point out exactly how many kind of very cool things and attractions are within easy driving distance of the property. So first, I'll just start off by saying that I didn't know much about this region before we started buying here. As I researched, however, I was pleasantly surprised by everything is just kind of right around the corner from the property. So first, about 10 minutes south in nearby Custer County, you've got Lake Deweese, which doubles as a reservoir and a state wildlife area. Of course, this is an excellent spot for some boating and general relaxation, and of course, fishing. The lake, it should be noted, has a number of species of fish, including, hang on, let me get out my recently Googled notes, rainbow trout, cutbow trout, smallmouth bass, green sunfish, and tiger muskie. Oh, tiger muskie. I know nothing about fish. Whatever the case, guys, the region is ideal for both hunting and fishing. That is the point of my sidetracking on fish there. Anyway, next up, about 20 minutes northeast of the subject property, you've got the iconic Royal Gorge Bridge, which has the distinction of being the largest suspension bridge in the country. And of course, when you have something like that, you just know a million different tourist activities were built up around it. We've got this website linked here on our main page, which goes into a lot more detail about what you can do out here, but I'll bottom line it for you and say whitewater rafting, zip lining, mountain climbing, countless trails and scenic overlooks, and of course the historic Royal Gorge Railroad are just a few of the no doubt many things that you can do in this region. I will let you guys explore that more on your own time, but it's evident, of course, that there is no shortage of great things to do out here. Now, it should be noted that Royal Gorge sits right here on the outskirts of Canyon City, which is both the county seat of Fremont County as well as its population center. So out here, you've got about 16,500 residents, and of course, in a town like that, you've got major medical services, groceries, supplies, fast food restaurants, pharmacies, and the all-important Walmart and Home Depot. So, of course, guys, if you do end up developing the property and you need bulk supplies of groceries and building materials, they will be none too far away, and this will most likely be the town that you drive to for those things, or just for some fun on a Saturday night. Now, it should be noted, guys, that Westcliff, and this is another thing that I was surprised about, Westcliff is a town of only about 400, but it's about 15 minutes south of the subject property, and they've got kind of a quaint little downtown area, as well as their own grocery stores, dollar store, and an Ace Hardware. So if you do need some of those aforementioned supplies when developing the property, you won't have to drive all the way into Canyon City because Westcliff is a good bit closer and will probably have a lot of what you're looking for. All right, people. So with all that said, the subject property is located down here where this road marked K-Path seems to end, and this dirt road going north begins. So this is a corner lot, a little more than a 2.5-acre corner lot. And if we go to the photo gallery here, you can get a sense of what these roads are like out here. Now, our photographer reported generally good road conditions throughout the region, but keep in mind, this is a forested mountain community where weather may impact those driving conditions. So, of course, as always, anyone scouting the property is advised to take a larger truck or off-road capable vehicle. Now, It should be noted that K-Path is one of what we'll call the major roads going through this sub. And I say that because of all the nearby developed home sites that you see in this area, here, and all over here, but also because of the presence of power lines. In fact, if we zoom in on the map and look at some of these developed home sites, you can see they all have power at the lot line. Now, I'm pointing this out because if you'll notice, the power seems to end over here at the corner of K-Path and 21st Trail, which is roughly about 700 feet east of where the subject property is located. And actually, we have an image here in the photo gallery here to help better demonstrate that distance. Whatever the case, when we scrutinize the properties to the immediate north of the subject parcel, this one, these over here, you will not see power lines there either. And typically when I see development like this and no power lines, it tells me that underground utilities have a greater presence in that area. And I say that not only from past experience buying and selling land, but because I don't think anyone's building a home site like this and powering it exclusively with solar. Whatever the case, when we go to the photo gallery, you will see that we have some shots of the property where here along the road, you can see an underground utility box along the eastern boundary of the property. And this is all my long-winded way of saying that there is a presence of utilities on the lot and likely servicing the nearby developed home sites, which means it may not be as big a deal to get power on the property as, say, paying the local utility to run poles and cables 700 feet out to the land. Of course, this is all semi-educated speculation, so take it with a grain of salt and do your own research, but the point is, some utilities do have a presence on the land, and power is not that far away. Should both of those fail you, solar is a pretty affordable and dependable option. Now, while we're on the topic of nearby developed home sites, I do want to point out that the neighbor to the north here has fenced in their property, as you can see here, and put up a keep out sign on one of the downed trees on the subject property. And in addition, our photographer did find some of the original survey markers already in place on the land. This, of course, could be a benefit to you, the buyer, because it means your boundaries are pretty well dictated and you won't have to spring for some expensive survey on day one. So we do like to point that out to you guys. Next, also want to point out some of the differences in the terrain here on the property. Now, of course, like most of the lots in this region, this is a forested lot. It's got a lot of trees. It's got a lot of vegetation. But there are also some good cutouts ideal for camping, and this larger, wide open space here on the north side of the property, perhaps ideal for building. Of course, you get a little sense of that in the ground photos, but even more so here in the drone shots. Point being, you do have some options out here if you don't want to deal with cutting down the trees, either for cost reasons or even environmental ones. Finally, guys, do want to wrap up by encouraging you to peruse the photo gallery on your own time, not only because there is so much more to see here, but particularly with the drone shots, you get an excellent sense of exactly how beautiful this part of Colorado is and how nice it might be to call this community your home. So, this is actually a pretty simple property to discuss zoning on. As we have written up here, this area we're charitably referring to as a subdivision has, let's put it up on the screen, no HOA, no annual dues, no time limits on building, no covenants, and no restrictions. That, of course, means that this property should be a lot easier to develop because basically it means you don't have to answer to your neighbors. Of course, it should be noted that while this region may be without subdivision restrictions, that does not mean that it is devoid of zoning. On the contrary, Fremont County designates this region as AE, or Agricultural Estates, which allows for, quote, limited agricultural purposes with appropriate single-family residence and provides separation from business and industrial uses. What I get from reading the zoning ordinance is that, as always, single-family residences, mobile and modular homes would be acceptable out here, as well as likely any sort of shipping container home built up to code. And as always, guys, anyone looking to learn more about the AE Agricultural Estate zoning designation can come down here and click this helpful link right here, which will bring up this PDF, which of course is an excerpt from the county zoning ordinance. And of course, guys, it goes without saying that these things are always a little light on details when it comes to questions of minimal square footage or RV usage and other esoterica of zoning. So we encourage anyone who wants to dig a little deeper on these topics to reach out to the Fremont County Zoning Office directly, as they will always know more about these things than we do. So if you would like to purchase this property, you'll be glad to know we closed on it and received title insurance through the unimaginatively named warranty title, which means we will be providing you with a warranty deed. So just come up here to the top of the page, click the Buy Now button, which will take you to this secure checkout, where we ask for a non-refundable, let me say it again, non-refundable $500 earnest money deposit. Now, to be clear, guys, this is not a property that has any financing offered. This is not a property where we're doing monthly payments. This is a property where we expect you to have the entire cash price. So if you do not have the entire cash price, you should not initiate this transaction. For those of you who do, however, here's the way it works. Come down here, give us the name for the deed, name for the contract, your mailing address. Then at the bottom of the page, agree to the terms of service, click Next, and on the very next page, you can enter credit or debit card information to place the $500 deposit. Now, to be clear, guys, this is an expensive property. Really, anything north of $10,000, we encourage our buyers to close through a title company on. Of course, you don't have to do that. Nobody's got a gun to your head. It's up to you. But when you're spending this kind of money, we recommend getting title insurance. And of course, one of the major benefits here for you, the buyer, is that with a title company, you've got a third-party intermediary who is not only handling the conveyance of the property, but also the disbursement of funds, meaning we cannot touch your money until such a time as the property has been deeded into your name. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how that whole process works, you'll be glad to know that on the listing page, we've got this helpful Notes About Purchasing, which goes into a little more detail here. But more helpfully, it links you to some pages on the website, which will go into even greater detail about this process. The first page is called How It Works Buying From Us. And if you go here, you can see exactly how this process plays out. Step 1, you place that deposit. Step 2, we're going to draft a contract. You sign it, we sign it. And step 3, the title company will do the rest, albeit slowly and over the period of about a month. And in case you're at all skeptical about placing money before seeing the contract you'll be asked to sign, you'll be glad to know we have a copy of our standard sale purchase agreement right here. You can click that and read through a generic version of what that contract looks like. It's a pretty easy contract, one page for signatures. If you got a lawyer in the family, have them give it a look-see, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Additionally, guys, if you haven't been through the title escrow process before, you're probably going to have a lot of questions about it. You'll be glad to know we have a page on our website entitled Title Escrow Frequently Asked Questions page. So if you click on that, it'll take you to this page where pretty much every conceivable question we have ever gotten from a buyer or will ever get from a buyer is answered here. Questions about benefits, questions about potential drawbacks, timeline, schedule, logistics, so on and so forth. So we encourage you, give that a read. So in conclusion, people, as you can see, there's a lot to like about this property, from the really picturesque region of Colorado that it's located in to all the sort of things to do and see, all within really very close proximity of the property itself. And of course, the community it's located in is ideal not only for hunters and fishermen, but people who just want to own a larger chunk of land and have the degree of privacy that comes with that. I really like this one. I hope you guys do too. Thanks as always for watching.